This video is for lesson 1.13 and it's over the coordinate plane. So this first page you have shows you the different quadrants of a coordinate plane and what the ordered pairs would look like. So when you're in this first quadrant here, this would be the first quadrant, you're going to move right. And so you're going to move in a positive direction, and then you're going to move up, which is in a positive direction. So all your ordered pairs are going to be two positives. So in quadrant 2, which is this one, you're going to move left, which is a negative direction, but then you're going to move up, which is a positive direction. So your ordered pairs here will look like a negative in the x and then a positive in the y. And this here is quadrant 3. So in this quadrant, you're going to move left, which is negative, and then you're going to move down, which is negative. So in your ordered pair, both your x and your y are going to be negative. And then finally, in quadrant 4, you're going to move right, which is positive, and down, which is negative. So your ordered pair will be a positive in the x and a negative in the y. And so there's different ways to write a point or a coordinate pair. More than just x comma y. So the points that we have here, this first one way down here is -1, -2. This next point here is 1, 1. Your next point is 2, 3, and then finally you've got -4, -2. So I can write these in a vertical table, and you would just put your x value under the x and your y value under the y. Just make sure that the same ordered pair stays together, that you're not mixing up the x's and the y's. And you can do the same thing in a horizontal table. Again, just make sure that you're matching up the right x with the right y. This next page is pieces of the coordinate plane. So this entire thing is called a coordinate plane. And so some important pieces here, you've got the y-axis, and that's the same down here. This one is a label for the x-axis, and the same over here. And then you've got your quadrants. So quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and then finally quadrant 4. All right, so this label is a point, and then another really important one is this right here. This point right there is named the origin, and that is where your x and your y-axis intersect. And so then this line that goes across my graph here, this is a diagonal line. And then two important pieces of this diagonal line would be this box here is going to mark the y-intercept, and that's where this line crosses the y-axis. And then this here is called your x-intercept, and that's where the line crosses your x-axis. And so this line here is a vertical line. You can kind of see it in there. And so again, you have an x-intercept, and that is where your line crosses the x-axis, and you don't have a y-intercept for a vertical line. And then finally, this is your horizontal line. And so it won't have an x-intercept, but it will have a y-intercept, so where it crosses the y. And then finally, anytime you see numbers written like this, this is an ordered pair. And so the first coordinate is always your x-coordinate. It's going to tell you whether you're going to move left or right. And then the 7, or your second coordinate, is always your y-coordinate. And that one tells you which way to move up and down. All right, this is the bottom part of that same page, and we're going to plot the following points. So the first one is 1, 2, and then you've got 4, -2, and then 0, -3, and then -1, +3, -2, -1, 2, 0, 3, -3, and then finally 2.5, 1. So 2.5, I would go over to the 2, and then go halfway in between the 2 and the 3, and then go up to 1. And then we're going to write the ordered pairs for each point. Sorry, this is so blurry. So point A, which is right here, is at 0 because I don't move left or right, but I go up 3, so that ordered pair is 0, 3. B, I have to go to the left 2, so that would be a -2, and then I don't move up and down, so the y would be 0. C is up here, so I have to go over 1, 2, 3, so that's my x, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4. D is way over here, so you go left 1, 2, 3. So if you go left, that's a -3, and I go up 1, so that's a +1. E is down in this corner, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, so that's a -4, and down 1, 2, 3. So if I go down, it's a -3. F is right here, so I don't go left or right, so the x is 0, but I go down 2, so the y is a -2. So here's G. For G, I go 1, 2, 3 to the right, so that's a positive, and then down 1, 2, 3, so that's a -3. H is way down here, so you go over 1, so that's a +1, and then down 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's a -4. And then finally, I is way over here, and I have to go over to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I don't go up and down, so the y is a 0. All right, this next page is more vocabulary on the coordinate plane and on the quadrants. So the horizontal axis, or is a number line, is called the x-axis, and the vertical number line is called the y-axis. So when you're plotting points in the form x, y, you have to crawl x before you stand. So the first coordinate is the x, and that tells you how far right or left you're going to move. And then the second coordinate is y, and it tells you how far up or down to move from the origin. Then you've got an ordered pair, and this is a pair of numbers that can be used to represent a point in the coordinate plane, often expressed as x, y in that form. And then we're going to plot these points. So I'm going to leave that to you to plot those points. And then finally, our last page, you've got 4 little pieces that you need to cut out and stick in the right quadrant. So the first one is 2, 2, so that one would go here. Then you have -3, 3, so that one would go there. And then -1, -1, and then finally 4, -1, and you have those little pieces that you can glue into the right quadrant. So that is it for this video.